Have you ever come across a song, a TV show, even a smell that takes you back to a specific time? This bit from Sesame Street has been running since 1976, and it brings many, including me, back to when they were children, watching the bright hand-drawn animations and listening to the funky tune by the Pointer Sisters. For yourself, you probably have similar examples. But have you ever been steamrolled by nostalgia via a YouTube comment? This comment suggested a video about Nolan Arenado, and man, I did not expect to get hit with a flashback by the mere mention of this player's name. But how? How could a current 28-year-old MLB player create a sense of nostalgia for me? Well, probably because it only takes me back 5 years. May 20th, 2014. Denver, Colorado. My wife and I are about to go to see the Rockies play the Giants at Coors Field. I am beside myself because this is the first time I will see an MLB game since I was 12. This is because I grew up in a baseball dead zone, where the nearest team is always 7 to 8 hours away. We got to go see the Orioles once. That was a treat. But now I'm a grown-ass man, and it's time. My lord, it is time. It didn't even matter to me that I didn't have a rooting interest in either team. I had this insatiable appetite for baseball that was about to be satisfied. And trust me when I say that I loved every second of this experience. First of all, Coors Field is an absolute treasure. From the plethora of restaurants around the stadium, or the fact that they are the first to have a brewery in the stadium, to having the row of mile-high purple seats, to having the freaking Rocky Mountains visible on the horizon, this place will eventually, I hope, be the next Fenway, Wrigley, or Dodger Stadium where we wouldn't even dare think about tearing it down or replacing it. The atmosphere was electric for a regular season game, and this might be because Colorado is actually in contention at this point. Secondly, and I cannot believe this happened, but I saw Madison Bumgarner pitch, and this was the year he became a playoff legend. At this point though, he hadn't quite hit national awareness yet, and I was fortunate enough to take some pictures of him. And look, there's Pablo Sandoval. You know, it's kind of crazy that the man who threw the final pitch and the man who caught the final out of that year's World Series, they're in this picture. And thirdly, the game was just fantastic. I was worried that Coors would bring us a blowout score in either direction and the game wouldn't be competitive, but man, it was far from that. I'll brush through the highlights. Franklin Morales, remember him? Madison Bumgarner, he did well. Rockies on the board first in the 4th inning. Giants follow in the 5th inning. And then this BS happens in the 5th. Then this happens. Top of the 9th here, and then this RBI triple happens. So Sergio Romo's in to close it. He starts the bottom half. He walks the first batter. And then Kadire flies out. And then Tulo grounds into a force out. Cargo barely muscles one over to the shortstop. All right, now it's starting to get really interesting with Nolan Arenado stepping up. And something of note here, this is the pre-superstar Arenado. Superstar, you might ask? Yes, superstar. It is weirdly essential for me for you to watch these defensive highlights before we dip into any analysis, so please enjoy.
That is fair. Oh no, oh my goodness. Ground ball to third, oh, Arenado, stop it, stop it! Pants! You kicked it! Oh my. Great play by Nolan Arenado. Locked in it.
I'm sorry I pulled your teeth there, but it had to be done. And now we can move on. Welcome to an intimate session with UZR. The stats we're going to talk about today are UZR and DRS. Both metrics are the same in that they attempt to measure all aspects of defense, including range, turning double plays, and errors. They weigh these against the average of previous players and how they fared on any given play. They divide the field into vectors and observe the velocity of a given batted ball in a particular spot. Then they award a positive or negative value based on the outcome of that play. Got that? Let's say there's a line drive to the right of Nolan Arenado, like right on the line. That's this part of the vector. Let's say that it was hit at 90 miles per hour. And let's say that the average third baseman made an out on the play 30% of the time. And now let's say the run expectancy of that play is 0.5 runs. If Nolan makes an out on that play, then he gets 70% of the run value. In this instance, 0.35 is added to his UZR. So then, if you understand that, you might ask yourself, what's the difference between them? Well, UZR and DRS have different smaller metrics that contribute to their final run saved number. DRS is aggressive, and UZR is seen as conservative. This is a table of Nolan's advanced stats since he was called up in 2013. So this first stat is runs saved by turning double plays above average. The next one is great fielding plays runs above average. This is a metric that awards plays that have a low likelihood of recording an out. RPM is a metric based on plays made versus balls in the zone and serves as a range statistic. Okay, then add those together and you get your DRS, which for Nolan is 113. That's a lot. The next metrics are kind of self-explanatory. Okay, now we're getting into the UZR metrics. DPR also measures double play runs. Range runs measures what you might think. And error runs are runs saved by not committing errors. And finally, the big one, UZR, a culmination of these previous metrics. Nolan's UZR since 2013 is 56.9. The next and right question is, how does he compare to the rest of the third basemen? Well, I'll show you. Here's where he ranked for each statistic. You might notice that Nolan is fourth or better in everything and first in many. So who's the rest of the field? Well, we've got some fun names here. Remember, they are the 12 best third basemen for the past 6 years. Defensively, of course. Alrighty, some quick observations here. Interestingly enough, Nolan's second in UZR. So who beat him? Manny Machado. It looks like UZR likes Manny's amount of plays and doesn't adjust too much for Nolan's ballpark. Coors has a notoriously fast infield. There is a clear drop-off from Manny and Nolan to the rest of the field. Matt Chapman is on this list, even though he's only played 2 full seasons. The guy's an absolute beast of a defender. Fun fact, Nolan and Matt, high school teammates, both elite third basemen, both have won platinum gloves. How fun is that? According to DRS, Nolan has made an insane amount of remarkable plays. He has 3 times the amount of great fielding play runs as the next closest third baseman, Kyle Seager, with 5. Which, speaking of Kyle Seager, how in the hell is he turning so many double plays? Weirdly, Juan Uribe ranks 3rd on this list, and it's mostly due to the monster years he had with the Dodgers. Some think the analytics department really helped with his positioning. If Josh Donaldson could get his errors under control, UZR thinks he could be a top-tier third baseman with the likes of Nolan and Manny. Okay, so based on the advanced metrics, Nolan is well above average. That's just my interpretation of the situation. Let's continue. This is Inside Edge, a metric that measures how a player performs on specific difficulties of batted balls. This is a proprietary metric used by the company Inside Edge, so there isn't much we know about how they arrive to these conclusions, but we do know that they do not use run expectancy like UZR and DRS. With that said, we can see that they break down defense into impossible, remote, unlikely, even, likely, and almost certain plays. Let's look at Nolan. He has more remote and unlikely plays than any other third baseman over his career, and only Manny Machado beats him on impossible plays, but only by one occurrence, which is essentially equal. The only person that beats Nolan on a rate basis on any of those metrics is Matt Chapman on their remote plays, 18%. So how does Nolan do this? I found this piece from Sunday Night Baseball where he's talking to A-Rod about how he defends the hot corner.
I think it's all about body. Like if you can get your body like coiled up to make a throw, it's kind of like hitting. Like you want to get gain your legs or load up. That's kind of how I do it on fielding. I have to make sure I gather my feet, get on the right foot, and gather, make a hard throw. I just want to make sure I'm throwing off the right foot. So for me, it's this foot. So I'm trying to gather, and then I try to gather and turn and make a good throw. I feel like I gather power and arm strength pushing off this leg. That's kind of how I get it. I try to scoop. So when I go for the ball, I try to get here. I want to create as much time so I could roll it into my hand. That's kind of what I think about, especially when the ball's coming. When it's, sitting there, it's hard to do it. But when the ball's rolling, you definitely want to scoop it. And to be honest with you, sometimes I field it with that grip already ready. Right. Which can be a mistake, but sometimes I do it because I just want to get rid of the throw.
Nolan is an absolute stalwart, an elite defender, and arguably the best defensive third baseman in the league. And he's been doing this from the beginning. Every year Nolan Arenado has been playing professional baseball, he has won a Gold Glove. He has been a model of consistency and is a generational defender. He also rakes. I thought that Nolan was a bit vanilla based on his interviews, but then I saw this video. I had no idea that he did this. This dude has a fire inside of him. So Perdomo throws at him, likely on purpose, and Nolan decides that he cannot allow it. Justice must be served by him. Right or wrong, behind all of that calm, cool, laid-back, easygoing California attitude is a tremendous competitor and a passion for his teammates in the game of baseball. Okay, so you've gotten to know a bit about Nolan. Back to 2014 Denver. Me and the wife on our first vacation as a couple, watching pre-superstar Arenado in the bottom of the ninth. 2 outs, 2 runners on. The score is 4-3 Giants. Here's how this at-bat went.
Down 4-3, 2 outs in the ninth. Bullpens came in his last 2 at-bats, which snapped an 0 for 15 slide. Slider is very close to an Ottavino type slider. Rockies leading baseball and hitting with 2 strikes. They need to do it here. Down 1-2 is Arenado. Well, he got one. He got a hit-me slider there.
Yes, he did. He hung it. Kind of elevated heater up above the hands. At 89, that's as hard as he can bring it. also lead it with an awful lot of strikeouts.
Here's the 2-2. And it's fouled up.
Got another one to hit. This ball driven left and deep and gone. Now top of the wall. Coors, he'll score. Arenado has won a walk-off double, and the Rockies have beat the Giants 5-4.
Where were you 5 years ago? 10 years ago? What were your hopes? Your concerns? Who did you love? What was most important? How did you feel? What's the best memory? Mine is the Rocky Mountains, game day, Coors Field, watching Madison Bumgarner and Nolan Arenado, creating a memory for me and for many. This is the beginning of my life as an adult, as a husband, and this is a moment in time that is gone, and it's never coming back. But perhaps for just a sliver of an occurrence and the mention of a name, I will be in Denver watching baseball. A large and very big thank you to you, the viewers, for watching this video. I really appreciate it. As well as a big thank you to Ananda Sundararam, I hope I'm saying that right, for inspiring this video and for leaving the comment that gave me nostalgia. So thank you for that. And a big thank you to Foolish Baseball for doing an enormous pimp job on my last video. I really appreciate it. It's a reason why a lot of you are here. So thank you, Foolish. The way this video came about was through a comment on a previous video. So we're gonna try and do that again. Do me a favor and leave a comment on a sad baseball item you'd like to see turned into a video, and maybe that'll get the juices flowing for the next one. I'm posting a link to my Corey Kluber video down here if you want to view that if you haven't yet. And I'm posting another link to Binging Baseball's Matt Stairs video. It's incredible. If you made it through the credits of this video, you're gonna love this video. Binging Baseball does an excellent job painting a picture of what could have been with Matt Stairs. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Again, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing your comments.